The Sentinel woke up in his lab on Janistar after the night in Amalga 5. The morning sun was a refreshing sight. He stretched his arm and yawned. He rolled over on his empty bed and reached out for his box.
"Sentinel, you have a message."
The box chimed. What is it? The Sentinel groaned, fearing the worst, as messages from the box had usually gone.
"Nothing bad, Sentinel. It's Miser.
The box attached itself to the Sentinel's false palm.
He's invited you over as a house guest."
House guest? The Sentinel asked, standing from his bed. Sliding on his pants and throwing his coat on, the Sentinel made his way to the bathroom.
"He and his family moved to Amalga 5. He wants you to come visit them."
The box glowed in his palm. The Sentinel splashed water on his face. It dripped through his beard. He dragged his fingers across his eyelids, wiped his face, and shook his hands. He has a family? He inspected his face. They survived both attacks on Andromatron?
"His family lived on a moon of Ilsos, Basid."
The box informed the Sentinel.
"Miser figured it would be safer away from the galaxy home to Ray."
Fair enough. Starting to think nowhere's safe, though. The Sentinel stood straight. He flashed away and appeared at the doorway of a home. It was strange for him to see such a developed neighborhood on a planet that he created. It reminded him so much of Earth it was unsettling. The only giveaway that it was Amalga 5 at all was the bright yellow moon and the fact that New Earth was visible from the surface. The Sentinel knocked on the door of Miser's house. Vax answered the door. Vax? The Sentinel asked. Sentinel, I didn't think you'd come. Vax opened the door and gestured for the Sentinel to come in. Miser, the Sentinel's here, she announced. What's this for? The Sentinel asked as he entered. The living room was decorated with birthday decorations for a child. Miser greeted the Sentinel happily. You have a family? The Sentinel asked. He watched as a little kid ran around excitedly to greet Vistor at the door he barely fit in. Vistor? The Sentinel asked. My daughter requested that the King of Ilso show up, because I know him. Miser pointed out. It's her 6th birthday. Miser gestured toward a man sitting at the dining room table behind him. That's my husband, Natus. He introduced him. Hello. He waved somewhat nervously. The Sentinel smiled and laughed, but then his smile faded. Sentinel, what is it? Vax noticed his frown. The Sentinel stumbled into Miser's couch. This isn't right. The group looked at the Sentinel confusedly. The child ignored it and climbed Vistor's back to replace the crown with a party hat. You have a normal life, the Sentinel pointed out. Yeah, Miser said, confused at the Sentinel's meaning. And? The Sentinel chuckled and smiled. I'm just not used to that. What planet are you from? Miser's daughter asked the Sentinel. The Sentinel smiled and answered, Earth. Whoa! She laughed in disbelief. So cool. She ran back to Miser. Can we go to Earth? She asked excitedly. Maybe someday, Jane. Miser smiled. Does she even know? The Sentinel asked. About the state of the universe? Sentinel, she's 6. She can't comprehend the idea of a universe, let alone everything that's happening. Miser responded. No one knows, Sentinel. Vistor added. Just your army and those who have felt the sting of it already. I'll fix it. The Sentinel looked toward Miser and Natus. I promise. Well, in the meantime, Natus stood up. We want some cake. Over the course of the party, more of Miser's daughter's friends showed up, as did other parents and guests. The Sentinel, Vax, and Vistor seemed to be the only members of the army present besides Miser. Vistor acted as a sort of party clown to the children, letting them climb all over him. The Sentinel watched with curiosity. Vistor was a being he once regarded as a bad guy. Seeing him now, happily entertaining children of Amalga 5, shed a new light on him. The Sentinel stayed silent for the most part through the course of the party. Vax knew better than to try to speak to him when he was in this mood. The Sentinel was enjoying himself, living life. Soon he stepped out into the backyard of the home. It was built on a hill, overlooking another section of neighborhood and a distant mountain range. Miser came out to talk to the Sentinel. Thank you, by the way, for saving my life on Andromatron the day we met. If I died then my family wouldn't have this life here. Also, I guess thanks for making this planet? The Sentinel didn't respond. I mean, I could have done without the dinosaurs. Velociraptors are a real pain on trash day. Miser stepped next to the Sentinel. Do you think you can really do this? You have a plan, right? Not really. The Sentinel answered. He heard the pitter-patter of small feet behind him. He turned around, expecting to see one of the children from the party. Instead, he was met with a small, fat, dog-sized creature. It had a parrot-like beak and a bony frill lined the back of its head. It shook its quilled feathered tail and honked at Miser. I mean, some of the dinosaurs are nice. He kneeled down to pet the creature. We've adopted some of them as pets. Miser looked up to see Natus and Jane. Rocky's hungry. Will you feed him? Miser asked Natus. Yeah, he nodded. Come here, Rocky. He called for the dinosaur. It clumsily waddled over to him, and Miser stood back up, turning his attention back to the Sentinel. Early birthday present, he explained. Miser, I promise I'll try my best to save this universe and the multiverse with it. For the sake of families like yours. The Sentinel looked over the neighborhood past the cliff. I didn't really understand before now that people lived on this planet I made. Like actual normal people. I think I was desensitized to it because Janistar was just one big city. Barely any humans or angio-humans. I didn't really connect with the random aliens until yesterday when I spoke with the bounty hunters. The Sentinel sighed and continued. And I see Vistor as more than just a bad guy. I don't know, it's all becoming so real to me. There's more out there than my army. I know it sounds selfish, but I didn't really think about it. About what? Miser asked. That people have a life outside the war. Outside of, well, mine, I guess. You haven't lived a life past war in a while, Sentinel, have you? Miser asked. I understand that. I was kicked out for cowardice. With the clone army, it became even more useless anyway. Put in charge of the planet with the least amount of ruling needed and lost the damn thing. Before that, I never saw my family. I've had time with them now. But with this war against the end of the universe and Ray, I don't want that to happen again. It won't. I promise. The Sentinel turned around and hugged Miser, patting him on the back. Go, hang out with your family. The Sentinel stepped away. Miser walked back in the house. He nodded at Vax as she walked out into the backyard. Vax? The Sentinel smiled. I haven't seen Foxtrot in a while. What's he up to? He asked her. He said he needed a little break from all this. Him and Agro both. They started up some sort of clone recovery program looking for all the survivors and making sure they're okay. A lot of them have moved into New Earth and Amalga 5 by now. They seem to be avoiding Janistar because it reminds them too much of Ilsos and, well... Ah, the Sentinel understood. There was a short pause between the two of them. Eventually, the Sentinel spoke up. I don't have a plan. I don't know what to do. Sentinel, you never know what to do. Vax laughed. This is no different than anything before. Ignore that it's on a larger scale and deal with it the way you deal with anything else. You'll figure it out. You're the Sentinel. That's what you do. You win. Last time, I didn't know, but in retrospect, I had to win. I met my future self countless times. Of course I would win. It was destined from the start. On top of that, the Paradox Master was nudging me all along. I hated it then, but now all I want is some direction. I'm worried. Why? Vax asked. Future me hasn't come back to say hi. The Sentinel looked down at his feet, shuffling them. What if there is no future me? Vax chuckled. Nonsense. That's assuming that you'd go back in time to tell yourself it's all going to be okay. And you can't do that. That'd be a paradox. Would you do that? I've been waiting for myself. Sentinel, don't be so hard on yourself. You always win. Right. The Sentinel forced a smile. He wasn't so confident, and as he stared up at the stars, just visible as the sun set, he saw one disappear. He closed his eyes. Right.